We already know that Serbia is a completely different beast compared to most other countries, especially Western countries. And being that I've lived here now for a number of years, it's already kind of ingrained into me the things that I find normal now, which I never thought I'd find normal, that I don't even think about these days. But regardless of that, working with many of our clients from around the world, they humble me to realize that the things that we do here in Serbia is really different than what they're used to or what I used to once be used to from a North American perspective or many other countries from around the world. And so what I've done today is I've come up with a list of about 20 different items that you may realize that are different here in Serbia than they are from the country that you're moving to, specifically North America, Australia, a lot of the Western European countries as well. And these some of these things may be new to you and some of them may be not. So let's go through this list of 20 things that you should expect in Serbia that are not used to in your country. Now, this first one here is something that I really didn't know how to deal with when I first got here because I never really had to go grocery shopping here in Serbia when I used to visit as a child, right? We'd always go out to eat. We'd always go down to our family villages and have home cooked meals. You know, we'd roast a pig or a lamb, so on and so forth. So grocery shopping, I never got exposed to here in Serbia until I actually moved here. And one of the things that threw me off guard was that when you're picking up your produce, vegetables, or fruits, that you yourself weigh them on a scale before you take them to the cash register. The cash register does not weigh them there. You actually have to put your produce into a bag, put it on a scale, put the code that you're actually supposed to for that certain piece of fruit or vegetable, and then it'll spit out the price for you. So that is the first thing that got caught off guard. And depending on where you go, Univert, Maxis, they may have their own different way of, or they do have their own different ways of doing it. And then if you're going to places like Metro, they'll typically have someone that you take your bag to and they will weigh it for you. Now, the next one comes to the legal side of things, and being that I owned my own business in Canada, and I know many individuals who still own their businesses in North America, they are required to use lawyers. And lawyers, for the most part in North America, typically have a specialty. If you need you got into some criminal events, you need a criminal lawyer. If you are selling property, you need a real estate lawyer. If you need corporate structures, you need a corporate business lawyer, and everyone has their own practice. However, here in Serbia, when a lawyer becomes a lawyer, they're able to practice across all areas of law. So one lawyer can do real estate, criminal, business, so on and so forth. Now, I'm not saying that there are not lawyers here in Serbia that do specialize in one aspect of law, and there are ones that do it. But for the most part, here in Serbia, lawyers are not allowed to advertise. They're not allowed to put ads anywhere. They're not allowed to do any of that. So in order for them to survive, they have to be able to spread across various aspects of law. Now, I see a very big con of this is because if you don't specialize in something now and you try and, be the jackal of all laws, essentially, how good are you going to be as that attorney? So I find that that's a huge issue when it comes to lawyers here, where in Canada I had 3 different lawyers on my roster as a construction business, just simply to be able to function properly and to make sure that I have the appropriate lawyers and legal counsel on my side. The other one is that I am a huge gym rat. I love going to the gym. I've been going to the gym for, let's say, 20 some odd years now. And in North America, one thing that I absolutely loved is that a lot of gyms are 24 hours. And I could wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and hit the gym at 4 a.m. Unfortunately, here in Serbia, I yet to find one 24-hour gym. I think there's 1 or 2 of them that are in existence. However, majority of them are not 24 hours, and they open up at 6 o'clock in the morning on the weekdays and 8 o'clock on the weekends, which to me is an absolute killer. And the other one that I noticed, and for anyone looking for a business model out there, is that here in Serbia, there's not one gym that has child caring services. So for parents who want to go and work out, but they're responsible for their children, there's no gym that I've been able to find as of yet that you can bring your child, give them to someone that takes care of them, that they can go play with other kids while you go work out. You're kind of at the mercy of finding someone while you go work out, especially if you don't have anyone in the country, such as us. It's between me and my wife, and that's how we work on things. Now, when it comes to banking, that's another one that I found pretty weird here in Serbia. Banks often close pretty early for the most part, around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At the same time, you are not able to pull out cash at banks here in Serbia after a certain time. So many banks, you are only able to pull out cash before 12 o'clock noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then after that, it's just administrative work that you're able to do. And I found that pretty weird. So if you're looking to pull out cash, especially if it's a foreign currency, because in Serbia, obviously, you're able to have multiple currencies in your bank accounts. You have to do it before 12 noon or 1 o'clock, depending on your bank. Now, when you're going in for rentals, one of the things that I did a lot of in Canada was I had rental properties myself, and I dealt with a lot of rental companies as an electrician. And typically when you have a new tenant come in, there is typically a rental inspection, and that the landlord signs off on, and you as a tenant sign off on, saying that everything is in good working order and an acceptable move-in condition. However, that's not something that happens here in Serbia, and that's something you're going to have to deal with here. So there's no move-in photos, there's no documents to sign. However, I would highly recommend, and this is not legal advice, this is just me looking out for you as a individual, that if you're moving to Serbia and you don't have any sort of agreement with your landlord, I would highly recommend that either take a video or pictures before and after you move in, so that there is no discrepancies down the road. The next one is that there is limited recycling options. So in Canada, we have the blue bin, we have the green bin for your your organic stuff, the blue bin for your plastics and glass, and then you have your regular garbage. Here in Serbia, for the most part, and I'm saying for the most part, everything is in one general waste bin. I know downtown here where our office is in Novi Sad, there are some bins where you throw out your glass. However, other than that, if you're going outside of the city center, for the most part, none of that really exists. But I do see them popping up more often than not. I am in a newer area, so it's of course in one general area that you throw out all your garbage, and that's just simply how it goes. Now, the other one is if you are going to use public bathrooms, especially around the markets, the farmers markets, they charge a fee. That's another one that is completely non-existent in other countries. And so if you're coming here and you're going to a farmer's market, be prepared to dish out anywhere between 60 and 100 dinars. Not saying it's going to break the bank. It's just something that you might want to keep in mind and have some cash on hand. Typically, they do not accept a debit card or a Visa card at all. Now, if you're going to a mall or something like that, of course, they're going to have public bathrooms. If you're going to a restaurant, they're going to have public bathrooms that you can go to. But it's not like you can just drive somewhere and hop out and go to a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks and just go use their bathroom. That's typically, you don't see that here in Serbia, and it's not something that is readily available. Now, the next one is the tipping culture. In North America, we have a huge tipping culture. It's almost like it's mandatory that you tip between 15 and 25%. And if you don't, somehow that you're rude, even if they gave you bad service and cold food or whatever, it might be. Here in Serbia, tipping is not mandatory. I feel that that's because they pay their employees a decent wage. I know in Canada, for instance, a lot of bartenders, they are able, the business is able to pay them below minimum wage. And so they're typically working for tips to get themselves up to an actual living wage. In Serbia, I do enjoy tipping, especially if the service is good. If I don't catch any attitude or anything like that, it's a standard 10% on my end. But if the service is exceptional, I have no problem going 20, 25. Sometimes I've even done 50%, depending on what the occasion is and where I'm at and so on and so forth. But if you're going for a simple coffee or a simple beer, there's no actual mandatory that you pay an additional so much on the tip side. So that's not something you have to deal with here either. Now the next one is in North America. I know a lot of EU countries also have access to Amazon, specifically next day delivery. In Serbia, we do have Amazon. However, the shipping and handling fees are extraordinarily expensive. So for instance, if you're going to look at ordering a $20 toaster, it's going to cost you $40 for shipping and handling. And that's not next day shipping either. That's just your standard shipping here. So we do not have Amazon for the most part. We do have Temu here. We do have another platform called Ananas that people enjoy using, and so they are able to order things in that Amazon would have. However, shipping usually takes about a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on where it is. And there's not really much import fees on Temu. Now, if you're getting someone to ship things from you to you from overseas into Serbia, you could be hit up with some extra fees on the customs and duty side. So keep that in mind. When it comes to business hours for a lot of stores, they may have, or stores, offices, whatnot, they may have regular operating hours, but that doesn't mean that's when their regular operating hours happen. I've gone to, for instance, some seamstress and people that I needed some clothing altered and said, hey, listen, we open up at 9 on the door. You check their Google hours, 9 o'clock it is. You get there at 10, still nobody there. Some people are nice enough to leave a little handwritten note on the door saying that they're not there, or they simply just don't show up and you just have to go back another day and find out if they're actually open or not. This particularly happens during holiday seasons, not only public holidays, but people just want to take personal holidays. For that time, if they're gone for like a week or an extended period of time, they will leave a sign on the door saying summer vacations not open, so on and so forth. But a lot of places are hit and miss. That also goes with when you're hiring tradespeople, a mechanic, electrician, plumber, whatever it might be. Pick up the phone. Can I, have this done, or can you come and take a look at something? The general response is, I may be there tomorrow, I may be there the next day, and even that, I wouldn't hold my breath on either. That's one of the biggest ones that a lot of people are struggling to deal with, is that there's no urgency. It's very hard to schedule something, and people are very wish-washy when it comes to schedules here. I know the individuals that just opened up the restaurant beside us, they were waiting for an electrician to come, and the electrician, should I say, was supposed to show up at 9 a.m. to look at something, and at 9:45, he still was not there, and he ended up showing up at like 5 after 10 or something like that. So even if he says he's showing up that day at that time, expect them to be late. You have to go with the flow kind of thing here in Serbia. And it's kind of refreshing, but it's also frustrating for individuals who live on a schedule. So I still struggle with that because I still hold myself to pretty strict schedules, especially working with clients from all over the world. We actually have to have things in a orderly fashion here. The next one is that you've probably heard, is that the smoking indoors here is very much popular, especially this time of the year. We're getting into November, December, the colder months. And so a lot of the outdoor patios are closed. The front doors of businesses are closed. So if you're going to any of these establishments, be prepared to walk in to a bar or restaurant full of smoke. So if you have asthma or do not like smoke, you may want to avoid those places. Now, there are some places that say they are non-smoking and smoking, and their idea of that is simply you're sitting on one side of the room where you're a non-smoker, and the smokers are sitting on the other side of the room. And what does the smoke do? It travels, and it's not essentially a non-smoking area. So be aware of that. There are some places that are truly non-smoking. I would highly suggest that you confirm that before you take a look at that. Keeping in the restaurant scene, in North America typically, or a lot of other countries, typically when you are done your food, or your meal, you have your desserts, the waitress or waiter comes up and says, is there anything else that I can get for you? And if you're like, no, they're like, well, will that be check or cash? Can I get the bill for you? And it's kind of like you're rushed out. Here in Serbia, completely opposite. You're going to get your food, you're going to get your drinks as well. And once that is received, then it's almost like you have to call someone to get a refill. And once that refill comes, you can sit there for hours on end and nobody's going to bother you. And you actually have to call someone to request the bill for the meal or drinks that you had. One thing to keep in mind, especially people that like to split bills in other countries, that doesn't happen here. If you ask a waiter or waitress to split the bill between, like, they ate this and had those drinks and I had these drinks and this meal, can you split that up? They're going to tell you to go pound salt. That's not going to happen here. Just pay the bill and deal with it on the next time that you guys go out, that the other party pays that bill. That's just simply how it goes here. Now, when it comes to the nightlife, I used to be a party animal back in Canada, and typically the things, I'm talking 20 years ago when I used to actually go out. Now I like my early nights in and waking up early, so there's none of that. But in Serbia, the nightlife is very vibrant here, especially in Belgrade. And there's some of that here in Novi Sad as well. However, one thing that I'd like to note is that typically in North America, going out means like I'm gonna go out starting 9 o'clock and I'll be home and the bar's gonna close around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. However, here in Serbia, you're typically going out around 12:30 at night, and then you're not coming home until the sun's coming up. So it's a very drastic difference when it comes to that as well. One of the things that I absolutely love about being in Serbia compared to Canada is that people here dress a lot better. So for instance, people like to, dress well. Women dress well with dresses and have their makeup done and hair done. Men typically have collared shirts and have some sort of style. In North America, what I've experienced is pajamas in Walmart, and that's as far as I need to go with that comment there. I'm sure a lot of you that live in those countries know what I'm talking about. Now, the other one that really got to me, and I'm going to wrap up with these last two here, is when it comes to warranty claims. Not talking about vehicles, I'm talking about like clothing, electronics, things of that nature. So you buy something at a store, you typically have a 2-year warranty, but if something like rips the next day that you bought or you found something was damaged, you got to take it to the store, and then they got to go through what they call as reklamacija, and they have to send it in somewhere to see if they're going to give you your money back, your exchange back, or repair the item for you. So you may be out of that item and be in limbo for a while to just find out what their verdict will be. And to me, that is a little bit of a pain, especially if it's an item like you need. Like for instance, you bought a vacuum and it's your only vacuum for your house or your apartment, and it breaks after a month, and you take it in, and now it's going to take a month for them to decide if they're fixing it or not. Now you're out of a vacuum for your house, whereas North America, a lot of these other countries, you have a warranty, you take it in, this does not work, they'll tell you to go get another one right off the bat, and then you take that new one home and they deal with that. So that is one of my biggest pet peeves here. And to wrap up the last one, the next one is that there is no price matching. In North America, you find a business that has this exact same item, same model number and everything else at another store, and it's cheaper. That business will price match that other store. Here in Serbia, if you find a item that is cheaper at another store and you bring it up to the store that's more expensive, they're going to tell you then go pick it up at that other store. They don't do price matching. They don't care. So it's something that you have to actually be on top of and understand, hey, listen, that the onus is on me to go and get that item cheaper somewhere else, because just because I show them a flyer, hey, this store is cheaper, they're not going to do it. You're actually going to go to the other store and pick it up. So I think that is the top 20-ish things that you would have to keep in mind when moving to Serbia. I'm sure that there's other that I've forgot, but those are the ones that I could just think of today for this video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.